Hello. In the previous video, we covered the concept of the Python data types. We also looked into the properties of the different data types. We looked into the data types in terms of the integers and their floats, are they strings, are they lists, are they tuple. We also looked into other types like the set and dictionary. And I told you the difference between the dictionaries that uses key and values and the set. I got report from quite a few who experienced challenges on how talk about using the Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook, and that is the reason why I made this short video today to walk you through on how you can use the Jupyter Lab to interact with the assignments and also with the learning. I hope this video will be useful to you. So if you're joining and you want to learn how to use Jupyter Lab, this is an opportunity for you. So what you do when you get your computer started is you go ahead and open an Anaconda prompt. And I like I said, always, the first thing I always do is to find the environment, my environment, and this is going to be handy. So I say conda environment list, env lists. I want to say the environment and give it a second or two, and we should have the environment. Yeah, so we have the base. It shows the star here shows that the base is the one that is active, and we also have the jocan. So this is my own environment. Now I want to activate my jocan. So all I need to do is to give it a name. The command say conda activate jocan. Now we are active, and if we do the same conda environment list, we should see that the jocan should have the star in this case now. Now we see that the star is the jocan, which shows that jocan or my environment is the active one. So whatever you've named your environment, you should be able to have the active one. What do we do next? I like to first set the directory, right? So I want my Jupyter Lab to start at the folder where I'm working from. So I want to find my working directory. In my case, I have a folder for this training. I call it the Python training. And I know if I go in here in the module 1, I have that information. That is where I put up the notebook I built to guide you for the data types. I can create new ones, but I'm just going to use this for example, assuming that I open the new working directory and there is nothing in there. What do we do? So I'm going to look at this drop down arrow, and I'll click it, and then I should see that the directory is already highlighted. So I'm going to just Control C, or I can right click it, and when I right click it, it's going to say copy. Make sure it's highlighted. When it's copied, I'm going back to my Anaconda prompt, and I will just say change directory. So now it's in the C drive, right? So if I am working from another drive, I can say first move to D drive. There's a command for that, right? If I want to move, let's say I have a different drive, all I need to do first is to just put let's say D drive, and I'm going to put this sign, right? And that will take me to D drive. Right, but I don't have D drive in this case. Just in case your folder is in a different drive and your Anaconda or your environment is in a different drive, so you can move between drive here. But I don't need that, right? I just need to go back and say just take me to the working directory that's in the same C drive. So I'm going to just say CD. So which CD means change directory, and I'll give a space, and then I Control V because I already paste. So here you cannot right click, right? Because this is the shell. You cannot right click. So what we just do, we just say Control V. That's going to paste what we copied the directory, and then once I hit enter, now I have set the environment to load the Jupyter Lab exactly where I have my working directory. And when this is done, I'm going to now key in Jupyter Lab, right? I'm just going to say Jupyter. Look at the way I spell it. I say Jupyter So that is Jupyter. Then I give a space. Then I say lab. Make sure you're spelling correctly. This is how you spell it. Jupyter. There's a space, then LAB. Jupyter Lab. If you put JUPI, everything is going to get messed up. So you don't want that. So as soon as you're done, I'm just going to hit enter. It's going to run and try to open up because the Anaconda prompt comes with its own. So you see, it's going to directly load the Jupyter Lab for me. And it will load it in that directory we have given it. So this is the directory we have assigned. And in that directory, I only have one one item there, which is the data types, right? So this is more like this is the PowerPoint of the first presentation on data types. So if I want to go back to the next PowerPoint, I can always find I can always see if I can go back there. If you're not able to go back from there, what you need to do is to go back to your Anaconda and track it. So I want to change directory now. It's okay to open another working directory. You can open so many Anaconda prompt rather, right? This is open and maybe you're trying to go back. If you're having issue with going back, what you need to do is just go back and open a new one. And so you get used to loading the Anaconda prompt and moving around, creating and changing environment. So just to make sure I have two prompts, so I'm just going to say conda activate my Joken. So I want Joken. Because the other environment is in use and Jupyter Lab is already loaded, and I can as well close it if I want. So that's still fine. You can close it. And I'm going to go back to my environment. I want to change the environment. So I don't want to be in module. I want to go back to the script. The script is where I have the data. So I have this data in script. So I'm just going to hit here, the drop down arrow, and then I'm going to right click or do Control C, whichever one. Then I go back to my environment and I will say change directory, which is CD, change directory, which is CD. And I'm going to do my Control V and then I'm going to hit my Jupyter Lab, JUPY, Jupyter Lab, and enter. It's going to load a new Jupyter Lab for me that will take me to the new environment. So this environment, this working directory will now be where I have the data type. So this is how we move from folder to a folder, right? Within the, and you see the old one is also changed. So this is how we move from folder to folder within that Jupyter Lab control. So I'm going to go back. Now I showed you how you can move from folder to folder. Let me start afresh so I can take you to the next step. So now I say I want to activate environment. Yeah, someone asked, is it possible you don't need to activate environment to do this simple task? Yeah, in this simple task, we can do these simple data types using the base. But I want you to get used to working in your environment. That's why I always want you to go to that environment and do your assignment there. So because we are going to build libraries as we make progress, right? So change directory, take me there. Let's see what we have. We are there. So open Jupyter Lab. Okay, now officially I've opened my Jupyter Lab, and now the question is, how do I create a new Jupyter notebook? And that is the question I keep getting. This is what you need to do. When you're in, you can bring in an existing notebook, right? When I hit this notebook, it's going to open, right? This is the lesson we did the last time when I want to create, how do I create a new one for assignment, right? So I'm going to hit on launch. We go back to launch. You will see this notebook. You see you have notebook, console, we have the terminal, we have the test, we have the Python file. You can even do .py. We can create a .py file here if you want. And then this is the notebook. So I'm going to hit the first one, which is notebook. And as soon as I do that, you see, now we have a new notebook. We have a new notebook. This notebook we created, the notebook does not have a title. But how do I create a new notebook? Even since I don't have, if I don't have that space, there's always going to be a plus here. You hit the plus, you see it's called new launcher. You hit the plus, it's going to open. Then you look for the notebook, or you want the Python, you hit for the py. This is .py. You see untitled.py. We have another plus. We can open several notebook right from here. This is very simple. We can open a console. This is a console, right? And we can keep opening the different types. We can open a terminal, and from here we can do some work. Some of what we can do with the PowerShell. So this is an extension of the PowerShell. We can write the command here, right? Even some of the things we can do with the Anaconda point. So you see what's happening now. This PowerShell I launched is showing me the directory, my working directory, which I am using, right? And that is why it's important. So we can do some task here. I'm going to close them. I don't need this console. I don't need the Python file. I'm going to work down here where I have it. I don't need it, so I'm going to hit right click it, and I'm going to hit delete. I'll delete the Python file because it's not necessary. I'm going to delete this one because we don't need it. And I'm going to create a new one. So now you see I'm left with I'm back to fresh, right? So I have the data, I have my initial data types script. So if you launch from fresh, usually you look for this plus sign, and there are so many plus, so you can keep adding. So each of them, if you highlight each of them, you can open a notebook within any one of them, right? Let me see. So at the end of the day, we're left with one. So I'm going to hit the notebook, and it's going to create an empty notebook for me. So I have to rename it. So I go to rename it. I rename the notebook, and I can call it assignment 1. And I'll put my name. Let's say Kenneth. I'll hit enter. So this is my assignment 1. Or I can call it Kenneth, then assignment 1, which is the way I prefer you to write it. So I'm going to try to create a new one, and I'm just going to hit the plus sign like I did. I hit the plus sign. Let me do it again. So I hit the plus sign, and I hit the Python 3, which is the notebook. You see the heading is notebook. I hit it, and I'm going to name it. Right click it in the folder panel. I'm going to say rename, and I will say Kenneth. Okay, Kenneth's assignment 1. So, and you see one thing we notice is that what we notice is that our assignment 1, yeah, so we have them now in bulk. So we noticed something in this within this Jupyter lab is that we can create a different types of file and work with them. So this is the executable file which you asked me, and you just to know how to create a new notebook, and then how to rename the notebook, and the next thing, how do I now start using the notebook. So you see at the top we have information. We have this is save. This will help me to save. If I'm working, I can save. And the same thing I do with my Microsoft Word. I can do Control S to save. The same thing can work here. And this is to create a new cell. So if I hit this plus sign, it's going to keep creating cells for me. And that's what we need. So we need those plus sign to add cells beneath. Right? And there's another way you can create cells. So you look at this icon here. This icon here is to copy the cell, information in the cell. This one is to move the cell upward. So if I want to move this cell up, I can move it, but it's already at the topmost, so I can move it down to the next one. So let me say example, I call it let's say I write Kenneth, so we can have reference cell, and each of them, again, they are called cells. These are all cells, and that's why I like the notebook, because you can break your task into cell and you run each cell as a chunk. But in the Visual Studio Code, the script, everything is going to run except you put a break. If you use a break, then the code is going to stop where you put a break, right? So I can move this down. You see, that's where this move cell down does. I can also move it up. Yeah, I can go up and keep moving the cell because I want it to. Now I can move. This is the highest. We can move it down. And we can still take it to the topmost. So this is to move up, and this one is to move down. This one is to copy the cell. The first one is to copy the cell, has a plus. We'll copy the information in the cell. You see, you cannot duplicate it. You create a copy and paste it below. So create the copy and place it below. So we can delete that cell. I can go here, we can delete the cell, we can delete the cell. What does this do? This create a cell below. So this will create a cell above, rather. This creates a cell below. So we create this, we're going to create a cell below, right? We want to create a cell above, we hit this one, right? And we can see that. Create a cell below. Let's delete cells. So this basically helps you to copy the cells and put it below. The next one helps you to move the cell above, move the cell below. This create a cell above. You see? Create a cell above. And this one create a cell below. So we can come here and see it. So create a cell below. And that's how it works. Now the next thing we need to learn is the so this, like I said, this is another way to add cells below, right? And the shortcut is this guy. Yeah, this guy adds cells above. This guy adds cells below. What does this do? This one helps to copy the cells. So we can highlight this and hit copy, and you can do Ctrl V. Nope. Let me see. Copy the selected cell. Yeah, I think we have to select it. Let me see. Yeah, we have to select the cell, and then we can copy the cells. And yeah, I'm going to come back to this so we can look into this function. Yeah, this basically copy the cells, but we need to find a way to know how we can carry that cell over. The next button here helps to paste the cell, right? So let's see if that's going to work, right? Let me see. Yeah, so you see, so this other first cell, like I said earlier, copies, and this paste the cell. This arrow is to run it. So we use to run the cell. So when we write our code, we use to run it. When it's running, we can stop it. We can interrupt the kernel. It's going to stop, and we can also restart the kernel with this, and we can run all the cells. So in this notebook, we can ask it to run everything from beginning to the end. So if I do like this, do you want to restart the kernel and run all variables? So what it's going to do is going to restart my kernel and then try to run everything from beginning to end. So we can have the code block from beginning to the end. We can run it cell by cell, or we can run everything and see the result. We don't want to run everything, but there are some jobs you need to run everything. And then we have this. So this is what you asked me. This is where you can change from code to markdown to raw, and I'll tell you what they mean. So when you start the Anaconda, the Jupyter lab is going to start with the code, but sometimes you want to also. That's why I like the notebook. You can write as if you're writing a textbook. You're writing your information to describe what you're doing. So as assignment 1, for example, you see here I have Kenneth, and it's in raw code. If I run this, if there's an information, it's going to run, right? For example, I can do I can come down and say, yeah, I can, let me do this. Let me say, let me change this to assignment 1. Assignment 1. You see, Python is going to think that this is a code, but if I run it, it's going to give me an error because it doesn't know what the one is, and so it's going to complain. But what I can do is to convert it to markdown. If I run it, you see it's going to stand like a test. So convert it to markdown is going to stand like a test. So now it's called assignment 1. But we can also make it more beautiful. And what we can do is to, let me go. You can always go and hit it again, and we can do raw and see what it looks like. In raw, it's going to be inside a cell. If you leave it in raw, it's going to be in a cell. It's going to just be the way it is, right? Nothing will change. It's not going to be beautiful, but if I change it to the markdown, we see it changes now, and we can then beautify it, right? And what do we do? How do we beautify it? So I just put a kind of I will comment it, and we use the pound key to comment. So I just put the pound key. You see, it changes, right? Let me run it. Let's see, and it gets bold. So we can beautify more. We can add more. The more I add a pound key, the more it gets smaller. But how do I make it bold? To make it bold, I need to put a star. If I put 1 star in the front, it's going to change it. Let me put another star at the end. It's going to make it to be, it's going to italicize it. So I'm going to run it and see. You'll see it. So I want to add another star. This is going to make it to be bold. And I need to make sure I put the star at the end. So whatever I do at the beginning, I have to do it at the end. I'm going to run it. You see it's bold. And if I want this to even be bold and highlighted, I can add the third star. So you have to play with this. Ideally, you have to play with this so it's bold and italicized. So and the more I add the pound in front, you can see I keep giving they are not joined together. The only thing that I join is the star. The star is joined with the write-up you want to have. And yeah, so the more I add pound key, the more it gets smaller. The more I add pound key, the more it gets smaller. The more I add the pound key, the more it gets smaller. The more I add a pound key, the more it gets smaller. Yeah, it gets to a point it's going to complain. Yeah, so I think we can add up to 6 pound key. And if more I take away the pound key, let's see what will happen. It's going to get larger. You see what I'm saying? So it's going to keep larger. So you have to learn how to use it. And if I use 2 star to close it, the write-up, it's just going to be bold. It's not going to be italicized. If I use only 1 star key, it's not going to be bold. It's not going to be just going to be italicized and not bold. So I like to use 2, and so depending on the description, use the measure heading. So we'll see. So the assignment 1. So that is what. So you can notice that this cell is on markdown, but by the time I move to the new cell is code. So if I change it to markdown, whatever I run, you see the run number is gone. Whatever I change, I do now is going to be on markdown, right? Or if I leave it raw, I'm just going to leave the cell empty raw like the way it is, but I don't want that. So either code or markdown. So let's take it back to code. You see that the run value is here. So now we can then write the code we want. We can just go ahead and now so we want to do data cars, right? We want to declare our list. In the string we want to say Lambo. We want to do Toyota, and I want to print. So I can then keep doing my code the way I want to do and see. Then if I run it now, yeah, so you see now I run it. it's giving me the I can now it's in code. That's what I want to show you. Now it's in code. But if I take this cell and change this cell to markdown, you see, you're just gonna run it that way. It's not gonna, because no, it's not gonna sit as a code. So we have to change it back to. I put it in raw. It's gonna be the way I put it. Put it in code back. Now it's code. So you have to know how to move from markdown to code, and always go back to check this video to see the markdown, the raw, and the code. And so that's how you create a new notebook, and that's how you play with the cells. And by the time you are done, you just hit the Ctrl S. This Ctrl S, or you come here, you see the save and create checkpoint. So you hit the save, it's going to create checkpoint. Checkpoint will kind of add a timestamp to it. And that is all you need to do. So when you're done with this, and the next thing you can do if you want to move, you're done with your assignment or any work you're doing, you just go ahead, if you go to the directory where you're working from, you are going to see, you see what I created now. This was created, the one, yeah, this is a new one I'm working on now. So I just control right click it, and there's going to be a Control C or something. You copy it, and then you go to the folder. I have the folder somewhere, and if you have access to the folder, then you just drop it on the folder, and that's all. There's a control. You just go to your folder where you have the notebook and just right click it. It's going to be like a file. It's a file with a Jupyter file, and you can right click it or do a Control C, and when you're done, you go and paste it, and you're done. That's how you play with the Jupyter Lab and the notebook. I hope this is helpful. There are other information you should play with them, like the file. How do you create a file? You know, how you save, how you can download it if you have to. The edit, you can use this button, like you can clear out the output. So for example, I have this run and I want to clear all the outputs. I can go to edit and move down to clear all outputs. So you see it's going to clear and restore it to factory, and I can also restart my kernel. If I go to edit here, go to kernel. If my kernel is running and the job is too large, I can always stop it, interrupt it. I can shut it down, and I can restart it, which is always the best thing. So I restart the kernel. It's going to restart your Python environment for you, and clear the memory so you can work afresh. So that is how you use the Jupyter notebook or Jupyter Lab. And I hope this video is very helpful for you. The other information like the settings, the help. I can change the background if I want. I can change the background from white to black. I want to be fancy in my coding. I'll go to theme. I change it to dark. You see, and then my coding, my environment changes dark. And if I don't like the light screen on my face, I can change the base to dark. So that way, like I'm working at night, I don't want the light to be my face. That way, I have less rays hitting my eyes there. Right, so we can go back to the settings, go to theme again, and change it back to light. There are other things we can do here. We can increase terminal size. We can do a lot of theme. Let me see, terminal theme. This does terminal theme. I've not really played with this before, but you can always go play with this. The tabs. I show which tabs is on. I can move from tab to tab. Let me see this tab. Yeah, so I can move. If I don't want to move, I can move from there. There are other stuff. We have the kernel, we have the run. So we can run everything, and we can run cell by cell. You know, so just try to play and learn what each of this is. Fine to make mistake and learn it, and then you'll be good at it. So yeah, so I hope this is helpful, and then we can always yeah, so the other information is always in folder. So you can also bring in your notebook from another source, right? If I hit this plus sign, so what is this going to create a new? This is the plus, the additional plus here is going to create a new launcher, so we can launch new notebook. But this is the button to install, to bring in a new folder, right? And we can also upload. So this notebook I'm working on, this my Jupyter notebook called Kenneth assignment. I can upload it somewhere, right? So now it's selected. I can go to here and find, let me see. Yeah, this create a new folder rather. Sorry, this create a new folder, and this help us to bring in a new file. So we can bring in a new file. Let's say I have a file somewhere. I can bring in that file, you see. So I can bring in that file here, and yeah, so this create a new folder. Within this folder we can work more, but we don't need that right now. Let me see. I don't need this here. Yeah, so this is how it works. For now, to end this video, I'm just going to change the theme to dark, and this will be our checkmark. And I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you on the next one. Now you know how to create notebooks, and let me know if you have any question, and bye bye.